You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
I feel so badly for him. This is not a man that deserves this. It should have been brought up long ago. And that's what you have hearings for. You don't wait till the hearing is over.
Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh accused of sexually assaulting a girl while in high school. Should the FBI investigate? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the allegations made against Brett Kavanaugh in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. The same DNA technology that helped solve the 1999 murder of Deborah Dalzell is being used by other Suncoast law enforcement agencies in hopes of solving decades-old cold cases. Captain Jonathan Todd and his team of detectives at the Sarasota Police Department are actively investigating a 30-year-old murder case where the officers utilized the latest DNA technology to potentially identify a suspect. Captain Todd won't reveal which case that is to prevent jeopardizing the investigation.
So I would just reassure the families of these victims that they are not forgotten, these cases aren't forgotten, and that we are actively working and trying to come to a successful conclusion on them.
The arrest in the Dalzell case has inspired Northport police to look into using DNA evidence to identify victims of Daniel Cunanan, a serial killer from the 1990s. A Northport man is facing charges for distributing obscene material after police say he sexually assaulted a woman and then sent photos of the assault to the victim's friend. Police say 53-year-old Scott Brown went to the victim's apartment in January. She says she remembers having 2 alcoholic drinks and then falling asleep. The victim later found messages on her cell phone that Brown allegedly sent with explicit photos of her to her friend. Brown was arrested Tuesday on 14 counts of possessing and distributing obscene material. A Sarasota man is facing charges tonight after police say he sexually assaulted a woman inside a Suncoast Mall bathroom. The attack happened on Wednesday morning at the Westfield Siesta Key Mall. Police say the victim told them she was at the mall sitting on the ground by the family restroom when 22-year-old male Jamel Abrams allegedly sat next to her. She says Abrams grabbed her neck and forced her to kiss him. When she pushed him away and told him to stop, he took her backpack and iPad into the restroom. Police say Abrams then tried to lure her into the restroom. When she didn't, he dragged her inside and allegedly raped her.
Just because the victim and the suspect in this case knew each other, it's no less of what our detectives are calling an attack. This suspect took this victim against her will and against what she wanted, and so that's why he's being charged with sexual battery.
Abrams is charged with 1 count of sexual battery. Legislation creating harsher penalties for animal abusers is set to go into effect October 1st. The measure, known as Ponce's Law, is named for a 9-month-old Labrador Retriever puppy found beaten to death in Volusia County last year. The new law allows a judge to bar someone convicted of animal cruelty from owning a pet. The legislation also increases the severity of animal abuse-related crimes, making it more likely an offender would go to jail if convicted.
It puts more teeth into it. It stiffens the penalty for people who abuse animals, who wouldn't support that. And this all came from a dog named Ponce who was beaten to death last year. A tragedy, horrific tragedy.
In addition to dealing with animal cruelty, the new law also creates policies and procedures for animal shelters to use following a natural disaster like a hurricane in order to return lost pets to their owners. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Good evening, everyone. A different setup today, a little bit more east wind, and that is causing some storms to break out. Some pretty heavy rainfall, too, especially into Polk County now, stretching down into Hardy County. We've had some rain near Rotunda, near Englewood. Northport looking okay right now. Englewood still raining there with some lightning pushing off to the west, and then another cell developing east of I-75 near Hidden River. Some showers that had been moving through Lido, and also North Siesta have since moved out into the Gulf of Mexico. But get a look at this. Large area of heavy rainfall, frequent lightning making its way through now. Polk County entering into Hillsborough, northeastern section of Manatee County. This will continue to race off toward the southwest, so this is going to be pretty active in Parrish, Bradenton, Ellington, Palmetto, I think. In the next, I would say, hour, hour and a half, maybe hour, we're going to see this rain move off into the Gulf later on tonight. So that's going to be tough going for drivers along I-75 in about an hour and a half, I think, in Manatee County. Well, as far as the current conditions go, it was a hot one today. 94, 2 degrees shy of the record 96. It's now in 85 degrees. Still feels like 92 out there. The heat index at one point this afternoon, 103. Summer is just a couple days officially ending Saturday night, just before 10 o'clock, but looks like summer is going to continue, and fall is not going to be here for a couple of weeks at least. You want to download our weather app, ABC7 weather app. Northport has their new lightning detection for the city there. Well, I'll tell you, you can have our weather app for free. It has lightning detection on it. It tells you how far the lightning strikes are away from your location, so you can seek shelter whenever it threatens. Be sure to go to your app store. Do a search for First Alert Weather WWSB. Alan?
Bob, thank you. It is a spectacle for sure. The allegation Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh allegedly sexually assaulted a teenage girl in high school. Both Kavanaugh and his accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, may or may not testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Monday. Are you following what's happening in Washington? ABC7's Jackie Kelly takes the temperature of the Suncoast.
Alan, when talking with Republicans and Democrats, Republicans seem to think that this accusation is politically motivated, while Democrats think that an investigation should take place. Professor Christine Ford calling for the FBI to investigate her allegation that she was sexually assaulted by Judge Brett Kavanaugh in high school before she agrees to testify. President Trump responding to the claim, saying he can't imagine that anything happened.
They're hurting somebody's life very badly, and it's very unfair, I think, to, as you know, Justice Kavanaugh has been treated very, very tough, and his family, I think it's a very unfair thing, what's going on.
And here on the Suncoast, Sarasota Republican Club President Ron Thompson agreeing with the president, saying this is politically motivated.
I'm frustrated with the political process. I'm frustrated with the amount of information that the accuser provided, because it's just not enough to corroborate or exonerate. It is just enough to smear him.
But former state representative Keith Fitzgerald questioning why people who say there is no evidence don't think there should be an investigation.
There's an irony in saying there's not enough evidence, but we don't want an investigation. It's clearly a plausible claim. I think a lot of people do believe it. I personally believe something happened. So let's investigate it and find out.
Thompson saying if claims are true, he feels like the victim is being taken advantage of.
If this happened to this woman, just as she said, Dianne Feinstein is using her tragedy for her political advantage. And that is horrible on the part of Feinstein. The Senate should censor her for this activity.
But Fitzgerald says if this is true, these actions would align with his perception of Kavanaugh.
He consistently displays in his judicial decisions a kind of hostility to the rights of women. He describes birth control pills as abortificants, which they're not, which means that he doesn't just want to overturn Roe versus Wade. He wants to tell women they can't use birth control. So there's a picture here of a guy who consistently undervalues women as human beings. And I don't want that guy on the Supreme Court.
Since revealing her name to the public, the accuser has received so many death threats that she has left her home with her family. Reporting in Sarasota, Jackie Kelly, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Coming up, we have it covered from the legal to the political to the trapezoid.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords. All on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4. Weekdays on ABC7.
Welcome back. Pick the principle at play. There's a lot of them, like not dismissing a victim of alleged sexual assault, no matter how long ago it was, and no matter how powerful the accused is today. But if you're the accused, well, how do you defend yourself? If you're on the Senate Judiciary Committee, how do you, or is it even possible to ignore the intense partisan pressure that rules everything these days? And joining us for more, Sarasota Attorney Extraordinaire Morgan Bentley, Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College, and joining us by Skype is a columnist for Insider NJDOT.com, Alan Steinberg, who served in the administration of President George W. Bush. And Alan, I'm going to start with you, not just because you have a great name. You wrote a column recently that said you are a never-Trumper that supports the Kavanaugh confirmation. Do the allegations against him now make any difference to you?
Yes, they do. I think it's a serious complaint. I think that there should be a delay on the vote for the nomination until both sides have testified and until the FBI does a thorough investigation of the circumstances surrounding the event, and also get some testimony from the people who were there. Otherwise, the nomination will be delayed.
And Frank, that is the essential problem here, that the Senate, the majority, seems to want to rush this through in order to get a vote and get Kavanaugh on the bench before the Supreme Court session begins. And it does not seem to be any kind of movement in terms of having a real FBI investigation. And should there be one?
You cannot extract yourself from the politics of this. And so I'm well aware of the start date of the next Supreme Court session, as well as the upcoming election and the political implications of that. And yes, they want this done before then. My understanding, though, from a number of people that are at or have been at the FBI, is that an FBI investigation might not take too long. It might just take a few days. And so I would agree, if we're only looking at a few more days to get some more facts before we have a hearing, and I think Dr. Ford has said even maybe late next week she'd be willing to do it. I don't think it might be a good idea to go ahead and tell the FBI to collect a few more facts.
Well, that would be up to President Trump, who does not seem inclined to do that. But Morgan, how, we talked before our show, This Senate Judiciary Committee meeting is it's not a criminal proceeding. It's not really even a fact-finding proceeding. So what would you do?
Well, if I was on the committee, you mean? Look, in a perfect world, a sober adult group of people would listen to this, take it seriously, look at it with seriousness, and respond accordingly. They would not, and as I think both sides are doing, is prejudging, putting the conclusion out there before they know anything about it, and I think Democrats and Republicans are both guilty of this go-around, is, you listen to the people, you give them their serious due, their due process, and listen to their story. It's a serious allegation. If we were talking about a violent crime, a murder or something, we wouldn't even be talking about why did you wait and why did you not, why did you wait from July until September? We wouldn't even be talking about that. So I think a sober group of people would listen to this, come to their conclusions, and then take their vote.
Our conversation on the allegations made against Brett Kavanaugh continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, good evening, everyone. Almost made it to Friday. It's not too far off. Van Wezel webcam showing a few brief showers moving on through. You'll see lots of sunshine today. These clouds moving off into the Gulf. That means we have a nice east wind, and you'll see these showers moving in that direction as well. That's a result of that high pressure over the Carolina coast now. Thankfully, high pressure is built in back over the Carolinas now. That's bringing us that east to northeasterly wind component generally throughout most of the day. There'll be a little sea breeze trying to develop each and every afternoon. It won't get much penetration inland because of that east wind will be not really strong, but it'll be stronger than it has been, 5 to 10 miles an hour, up to 15 at times. And that usually pins that sea breeze right near the coast, and that has been the case today. It was hot today. We have an east wind here. We get hot, record-breaking hot in some cases, 96 in Tampa today. That set a record. We were close at 94. And it's going to be another warm day tomorrow. With all that warmth around and all that energy in the atmosphere, storms are prevalent. And you can see this big area right here pushing to the southwest at 10 to 15. Now, it was a little bit more intense about 20 minutes ago, showing up as more lightning there. But still, it's going to have enough energy to push all this off toward the coast. We've got some rain now near Bayshore Gardens, near Trailer Estates, and you can see that right there all the way up to Bradenton now, generating a few lightning strikes. South Bradenton along Cortez getting some rain that is spreading off toward the north end of Longboat Key. Then down south, Northport, you're in the clear right now in terms of rainfall. It's to the north of you, but look at this line setting up here near Bethany, Verna, and Hidden River. All that is trying to break that sea breeze down, and it will do so and intensify as well. So a pretty good chance of seeing scattered showers and storms in the mix for the next couple of hours here along the Sun Coast. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, along with some dangerous lightning. It looks like for the time being, though, we'll see this pattern persist through Friday. Football Friday night could be in danger again with at least the start of the games and possibly into the first half. We'll see showers wind on down tonight into the Gulf of Mexico, and then a nice start to the morning tomorrow for drop-off for the kids at school. Not a problem for your commute, should not be a problem weather-wise. We will start to see those afternoon and evening storms, though, make a play for us in the afternoon and evening, both on Friday and on Saturday. Similar conditions anticipating. In fact, we're not going to see much of a change right through the early part of next week either. You'll see showers and storms progressing from the east to the west. It won't be a total rain out. Most of the day should be okay, just followed by those cooling afternoon storms late in the day. Well, not again, right? Florence. Could it come back? Well, it won't come back as Florence, but it could come back as Kirk. That's right. A cold front has made its way through. It picked up Florence, carried it out into the Atlantic. Now this front has become stationary, and a lot of times on the ends of fronts that move through, you can get a little spin up and get a look at the satellite imagery showing the system with some rotation there. On top of that, some outflow on the north end and the west quadrant there. As far as the Hurricane Center is concerned, they're calling this an investigated area now, and they're going to watch it. And the models, some of them suggesting that it moves south and then west. And look at that. There's the Carolina coast right there, which is a long way off. Not anything to worry about right now, but a lot of times during this time of year, cold fronts come down so rapidly from the north that they usually won't leave that sticking around like we saw with Florence, and it will carry it off into the Atlantic before it reaches there. East winds turn to the northeast, 10 knots, becoming 5 knots in the afternoon with that sea breeze trying to kick in. Rain chance at 60% for scattered showers tomorrow, 50% both on Saturday and Sunday. Hey, fall arrives. First full day will be on Sunday. Sure looks like it, right? 89 for a high. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-965-2704.
Independence U for an independent you.
Call 1-800-965-2704.
This fall, experience golf at a higher level, where the courses are exceptionally beautiful and incredibly challenging. On Alabama's Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, enjoy unlimited golf, including cart and range balls from $112 a day. Beautiful, deadly, irresistible. Is your game ready for the trail? Call 800-949-4444 or visit rtjgolf.com for tee times and get your game on the trail.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back. We are talking about the allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and joining us for more are Sarasota attorney Morgan Bentley, Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, and joining us by Skype, a columnist for Insider I'll get this right, .com, Alan Steinberg, who served in the administration of President George W. Bush. And Alan, let me ask you this. You heard the interview with our local Republican conservative who absolutely says that this is politics 100%, even suggesting that that members of the Democratic Party should be held in contempt of Congress for pushing this along. Do all Republicans feel that way, or are there Republicans out there who want this fully vetted?
Well, I don't feel that way. I think it's a serious allegation. And I have been served both political parties over the last decade playing politics. And I think this is something that is very regrettable. But again, I think that this issue has to be heard out. And I think that, as Louis Nizer once said, you can't make a determination until you hear and see witnesses. And at that particular point, a determination will be made. But I have a concern that in terms of the Republican Party, they may get the confirmation done, but it could be a Pyrrhic victory that results in a substantial backlash among women voters that cost the Republicans the Senate seat in both Florida, where you have a very close race, and also in Texas, where Ted Cruz is facing serious competition. So Politics are at stake here.
That's exactly what you were talking about before. Your concern is what happens with Republican women, and we've seen this locally in the special election in House 72 a couple of months ago, where a considerable amount of Republican women on the Suncoast crossed over and voted for Margaret Good.
Yes, if the Republican leadership in the Senate mishandles this, it could be one more poke in an already riled up demographic segment, and it could come back and haunt Republicans for a long time. And I was also talking just a little bit before, to the extent that we're focusing on the outcome of the confirmation vote for Judge Kavanaugh. I mean, there's lots of issues here that become personal, but with respect to that vote, if that is what people are focused on, there's only really 4 opinions that matter, and that's the 4 potentially swing Republicans on that committee. And so that's Corker, Flake, Collins, and potentially Murkowski to give one the other 3's cover.
Morgan, you talked about if there was only a sober body to actually look at this dispassionately, but if you have a situation where it's Judge Kavanaugh and his accuser, without any kind of independent investigation of it, you know, how can you judge? Isn't it just, you know, he said, she said, and isn't that exactly what people don't want?
The answer to the last one, yes, that's not what anyone wants, but most cases are like that. I mean, most cases are about he said, she said, and you look to the corroborating evidence that whatever there may be, were there other people who were there who have done contemporaneous testimony at the time? I mean, I know Mark Judge wrote a book about his, you know, his activities back then. He'd be somebody you talk to. Anybody else at that point, if it were a real case, you would subpoena everybody at the party, you'd get everybody's testimony as to what happened. You'd look at things like, you know, yearbook posts and contemporaneous writings and what people may have said to therapists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there either will or won't be corroborating evidence for one side or the other. So it's not a he said, she said, because that's just not the way cases work.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the allegations made against Brett Kavanaugh will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions.
How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We are talking about the allegations against Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and joining us for more are Sarasota attorney Morgan Bentley, Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, and joining us by Skype, a columnist for InsiderNJ.com, Alan Steinberg, who served in the administration of President George W. Bush. And Alan, let me ask you this question, because it appears that it's more likely, or we're hearing that the accuser in this case may well testify on Monday, Judge Kavanaugh would also testify, and you'll have those two witnesses, and then the Republicans will move on to a vote. What do you think happens within the Republican Party if a lot of people share your opinion, if this, it goes right to the Senate floor and a vote is just cast along those lines without any other kind of investigation?
If it looks like a steamrolled nomination, there will be a tremendous backlash. The Republican Party has been losing great numbers nationwide. It's true that Trump gets a larger percentage of that shrinking number backing him. However, the number is shrinking because the public is alienated by the Republican stance, which is contrary to what I believe in terms of immigration, in terms of civil rights, in terms of the xenophobia that prevails in the Trump administration. So if this nomination is steamrolled, you will have a backlash. It will cost the Republicans very possibly a very close Senate. The Republicans are going to lose the House of Representatives anyway. That's a done deal. The Democrats have that. However, the Senate, the Republicans still have an edge. But you will have in states like Texas, which is going from red to purple, you will have Ted Cruz losing support, and he has to back the conservative nominee anyway, but he will alienate women voters. I think that Gillum is going to win in Florida. I'm covering your race very closely, and I think he can pull in a large African-American vote. And now, if it appears that this nomination was steamrolled and the complainant, Dr. Ford, was not dealt with fairly, you're going to have a larger women's vote on behalf of Bill Nelson, and the Republicans will have lost both houses of the Congress.
What really rankles many Republicans is that given the amount of time and the faded memories, you are not going to be able to prove guilt or innocence here, and that leads a lot of Republicans to believe this is simply about stopping this nomination one way or the other.
Oh, I think that's true, which is why I go back to my original point, is you've got to, sometimes being heard is the most important thing, and how the case actually comes out is it's important, but it's not as important as just feeling like you've been heard. And to your guest's point is, I think what has to happen is the Senate has to make everybody involved feel like they've been heard, whether they're this particular woman, or Brett Kavanaugh, or the people who have such a vested interest in this and are like so angry about it. They all need to be heard, because if you shortcut the process, you're going to alienate, by definition, one of those groups of people.
But Frank, the process will be shortcut no matter what you do. You could have a really good hearing next week where this woman gets an opportunity to state her case, and Judge Kavanaugh has an opportunity to state his, but with no FBI investigation, it's just talk, and either side is not going to be happy.
It depends upon how quickly the vote happens after the hearing. If the hearing happens Monday, there might be a little bit more time to collect some information if the hearing were pushed back to later in the week. I am not on the Judiciary Committee. I can imagine if I were a Democrat or a Republican on that committee, there are certain questions that I would be asking both of these witnesses with respect to what they remember happening at that party, or even if they were at any party that resembled something like that, and that you might actually be able to corroborate within a few days some of the facts that would lend more credibility to one side or the other.
Speak for a moment to a lot of our viewers who are watching this right now, and this is, they're saying this is not about Judge Kavanaugh. This is all about the last nominee, Merrick Garland, President Obama's nominee, who was held up and not even given a vote, and this is payback by the Democrats.
It's about everything, and that's part of the point. You cannot extract yourself. This, for Dr. Ford, this is a deeply personal issue, and certainly something that has impacted and affected her, and those claims seem credible, regardless of what may or may not have happened that night. This is something that has impacted her life, and for her, that's her reality. But we're at an extremely political moment right now in our history, and certainly the Merrick Garland case and a variety of other things factor into some really, really intense feelings. And so it's about that for many people in a number of ways. And so I don't think you're going to be able to extract yourself from the politics. You just do the best that you can, is just trying to apply the right process here, give people a moment, their ability to come out and say what they have to say. It might not take that long. A little longer than they're saying, but it might not take that long.
And Ellen, I mean, you've expressed your opinion in terms of wanting another investigation here, but Republicans and members of your party do believe that this nominee is being steamrolled here because of what happened in the last administration. And as Frank said, all of these things could be correct. But what would you say to other Republicans?
Well, that brings up a bigger problem, and that is that this president, and this is one of the reasons I have opposed him so vehemently, is hell-bent at destroying the credibility of institutions. And one of the institutions most venerated in America is the FBI. And you have a president out there who is saying that the FBI is a cancer on America. So if they make they won't make a formal finding. They'll say, this is what we discovered. You make the judgment. But you will have the president absolutely crashing without any credibility what the FBI says. And that brings up a problem that is bigger than the nomination itself. This is a president who is alienating millions of Americans by destroying institutions. And I think that what Republicans have to say to themselves is, this is a very well-qualified nominee. However, a serious allegation has been raised. Let it be heard. Let the FBI do its investigation. Why is there a rush to judgment? Let them do their investigation. Let them come back with what they find. Let the nation hear and see both Dr. Ford and Brett Kavanaugh. Now, let me say something on behalf of Brett Kavanaugh. I served in the Bush administration, and he was very well regarded. Perhaps he's telling the truth. Perhaps Dr. Ford is not. But we can only make that determination after seeing them both.
You know, we always try to get a sense of what people here on the Suncoast are thinking about these things. You were well known in the community, Tiger Bay Club, in the legal circles around here. What are people down at the courthouse saying?
Well, a lot. First of all, it's definitely a topic of conversation. There seems to be, obviously, there's a political divide. There seems to be a little bit of a generational and a gender divide. I think, women in particular feel like, this is something that they can all relate to, if not personally, people who've been close to them or something where, it may not be the classic, rape situation, but something like this where you're assaulted and you're overpowered or what have you. So they can relate a lot more, and especially younger women, I think, are more vocal about how this is something that happens to women and it needs not to happen to women. And so there's definitely a gender divide on it. Even if they don't believe her, they believe she should be heard. And they may not believe her even after they've been heard, but they all seem to feel like, why are you snuffing her out? Because she's a woman? You don't want to listen to her because she's a woman? That's what I hear. That phrase I just said, I've heard so many different times.
Frank, is this any different than the reaction after Anita Hill? If you remember the allegations of sexual harassment that she made against Clarence Thomas, was it over 30 years ago?
Yeah, lots of parallels between the cases and the way that they're playing out. Although it was a different time, you certainly didn't have the Me Too movement back then. And I actually think public opinion at the time that Anita Hill testified was not really in her favor. And I think we've come to learn some lessons from that and how she was treated at that hearing. Coming back to today, I know it sounds rather technical, but I do think the timing matters. Because this is so political, inherently political, if Dr. Ford were to ask for something that's going to take multiple weeks, I don't think she's going to get it, and I think the sympathy will go down. But I think she's shifting today, and if she's just asking for a couple of more days, then it would seem, I think, unreasonable for Republicans to try to force it through.
Gentlemen, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you all. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on securing so-called soft targets. We live in a world where everyone is on alert 24/7 in fear of terror striking at any moment. We have seen mass shootings in the United States, from school shootings at Virginia Tech to Parkland to a concert in Las Vegas or a nightclub in Orlando. Unfortunately, we live in a society where many of us are looking over our backs in places where we should feel safe. Sarah says listening to people who want to pretend it is not happening and actually pass some laws to restrict access to firearms, not banning, restricting sales to people who can pass a federal background check and who pass a gun safety and accuracy exam. And then there is Vanessa, who says, stop over-informing everyone, especially if it isn't local news. Stop over-informing everyone, Vanessa? I don't have all the answers, but I'm pretty sure living with your head in the sand isn't one of them. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast. And we want to thank our guests tonight, Sarasota attorney extraordinaire Morgan Bentley, Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College, and by Skype, a columnist for InsiderNJ.com, Alan Steinberg, who served in the administration of President George W. Bush. When we return, we'll be joined by our business correspondent, Richard Stern, so stick around.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for saving $20 on X2 Power car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
It's hard to see when you're outside at night. It's time for the Atomic Beam Sunblast, the new solar-powered light that's super bright. Atomic Beam Sunblast lets you add a light anywhere, and the atomic solar panels charge the built-in lithium-ion battery quickly. Then the 180-degree motion sensor turns on the light when you get near and automatically turns off when you disappear. Look, here's a best-selling outdoor solar light, and here's the super bright Atomic Beam Sunblast. Get the super bright Atomic Beam Sunblast for only $19.99. But wait, call right now and you can double your order and get a second Sunblast, plus our best-selling Atomic Beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. That's 2 Atomic Beam Sunblasts and the Atomic Beam flashlight. Call now.
Call 1-800-431-6640. That's 1-800-431-6640. Or visit mysunblast.com. So call 1-800-431-6640. Order now.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
Welcome back. What's going on in the stock market? ABC7's business correspondent Richard Stern is here to fill us in. And Richard, I mean, we're nearing all-time highs.
Absolutely. In every index, certainly the Dow, which is only 30 stocks, but when people say, how did the market do, they're talking about the Dow. The NASDAQ, which we've talked about the FANG stocks many times. The S&P, which is the broadest index, being 500 stocks. Everything is either at or near an all-time high.
Well, help us figure this out, because what we hear in the news almost every day is the concerns about the looming trade war, the tit-for-tat with China. That has no impact in terms of what we're seeing?
I don't think it's fair to say it has no impact, but the impact is very brief. On any given day, if the word comes out that the tariffs are going to be even larger than what had been expected, the market will be down 150 points. The next morning, if it comes out that the tariffs may be not so terrible after all, we're up 150 points. So I think there are reactions, but it's very, very short term. In the long run, no, it has not made a lot of difference.
So what is driving these highs? Is it the corporate tax cuts having an impact on profits and so forth, or is it something else?
Well, certainly it is that, but I think the one common thread, and we've talked about it almost every time I've been here, is interest rates. Interest rates continue to be at virtual all-time lows. The 10-year Treasury finally now has a yield of 3%, but you ask the rhetorical question, who do you know that you'd loan money to for 10 years at 3%? Which means the bond market really is not attractive to investors, which means the stock market becomes the market of choice.
Is this, in the end, reflective of what the president has been saying a lot lately, that we have the best economy ever?
Well, I guess the question is, how much credit might he get for that? Certainly the Obama administration has come out with many graphs that show how great a start Mr. Trump had, and that it simply continued. But whether you give the credit to Obama, whether you give it to Trump, whether you say it's some combination of all the above, the consumers are very happy. They're seeing their 401k statements every quarter being worth more than the time before. Frankly, we're headed into a holiday season that could be just an absolute home run.
I don't want to rain on anyone's parade here, but if there is one thing out there that concerns you about the stock market and hopes for its continued success, what would that be?
Even more aggressive tariffs. I think that the tariffs, I just got done saying, well, it depends and it depends, but if they really, really got aggressive and the numbers got to be extremely large, I think that could be a problem. Maybe not in the long term, but it could be a hiccup for the market for sure.
Richard, thank you very much. We want to thank Richard for joining us tonight. Richard joins us every other Monday starting October 1st to discuss the wild world of Wall Street. When we return, our primetime headlines, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Getting a look at Tower Cam right now, showing some lightning moving through the Suncoast. It's powerful. Moving through as a result of the strong easterly wind butting up against that sea breeze, and boy, the two shall meet and cause big storms, and that's what's happening right now. We talked about it during the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscast, and you can just see it lit up right there. Here's a look now at the other way, the other direction, the Tower Cam facing out into the Gulf of Mexico. That was looking a little bit more toward the northeast, but a beautiful sunset tonight. You can see, though, off here in the corner, you'll start to see some storms moving on in, and there they are, some heavy rainfall now and near Longboat Key and stretching through Sarasota Bay. There's the high pressure drying things out finally in the Carolinas, but that east wind around it continuing to bring the showers and storms our way in the afternoon and evening. That'll be the case again tomorrow and continuing to the weekend. There's that secondary shot we were talking about at the 5 o'clock news. It's made its way all the way over now. Big storms in Parrish. If you're driving along I-75 up into Hillsboro, it's pretty tough going. You might want to delay that for about 20 minutes or so. You can see that activity now approaching Longboat Key, actually moving through Longboat Key. In northwest Bradenton, some pretty heavy rainfall, some dangerous lightning occurring near 75th Street and also all the way out to Holmes Beach, Bradenton around State Road 64 and Manatee Avenue. Some pretty good downpours. More on the way, too. It's not going to be over quite yet as that secondary line moves through. in the next half hour or so. So that's what we got going on, and that's going to stay that way too, it looks like, for the upcoming days, with a good chance for afternoon and evening thunderstorms, some of which could bring some locally heavy rainfall at times, as a little bit more enhancement to these storms due to a tropical wave which will be moving through as well. And that tropical wave will head off into the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. Not expected to develop, but tonight, after 10, 11 o'clock, things will calm down. We'll look for fair skies, and then we redo it all over again in the afternoon and evening with showers and storms scattered about. Again, that activity could be rather intense in some places as it makes its way off to the west. Now, the Futurecast is not letting up on any of that as far as that goes. Here's the look at the tropical system that could be, again, on the tail end of a cold front, when actually picked up Florence as it made its way through the northeast United States. Boy, it's looking rather healthy on the satellite imagery. You can see the outflow looking pretty good already. It's nothing. There's only a 20% chance of it developing into something, and if it were to develop, more than likely it would drop to the southwest as high pressure builds in over to the north of it and pushes it in that direction, and then eventually off to the west. Now, it's too early to say whether it will be anything at this point. It just bears watching. This is over the next 5 days, and typically fronts move through pretty quickly this time of year that catch these things and keep them from having a big impact on the coastal communities there. But it does bear watch. Another place way out there in the Atlantic, 50% chance developing into the next tropical system as it makes its way eventually to the southwest, but that's not a big concern at this point. And then there's another one just to the east of the Windward Islands. Boy, nonstop, right? Typically, things should start to calm down after a couple of weeks in October. East to northeast winds for boaters tomorrow will start off at 10 knots, subside to 5 with a light chop. The extended forecast and good chance for those scattered storms in the afternoon and evening, similar to what we're seeing today. Fall officially arriving just before 10 p.m. on Saturday, but summer-like conditions continuing right through the week next week. High temperatures slightly above average. Alan's back with primetime headlines right after this.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. There is no obligation and the book is free. Call or go online right now.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station.
Checking primetime headlines today. Today marks 1 year since Hurricane Maria ravaged Puerto Rico, and the island is still struggling to recover. Today, residents observed a day of mourning with commemorations and protests on the island. ABC's Linda Lopez is there with the latest.
Puerto Rico remembers today, 1 year exactly after Hurricane Maria bowled ashore, remaking the island forever.
It almost is as if we've just woken up from a severe trauma.
The economic cost, nearly $140 billion. The cost in lives, according to the official estimate, nearly 3,000. That number drawing criticism from President Trump, tweeting 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico, and blaming Democrats, saying it was done, quote, in order to make me look as bad as possible.
The president was unhinged when he said that. He showed that he has a total lack of touch with reality.
In Puerto Rico, though, the politics taking a backseat to progress. Everywhere there are signs of the struggle to recover, blue tarps still covering homes, but in other places, rebirth.
So this is the bridge that had been completely destroyed and completely washed away by Hurricane Maria. And a year ago, we saw people string a rope across this water just so they could access the town. And now, 1 year later, after Hurricane Maria, this bridge is completely rebuilt and completely back in use.
Linda Lopez, ABC News, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Michael Jordan is donating $2 million to Florence Relief and Recovery. Jordan is the chairman of the Charlotte Hornets NBA team based in Charlotte. Florence killed 32 people and prompted rescues of hundreds more. Jordan's donations are going to the American Red Cross and the Foundation for the Carolinas Hurricane Florence Response Fund. The Hornets and the NBA also created Carolina Strong t-shirts. The proceeds from those sales will benefit Florence Relief as well. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.